Donnell has long claimed that James Cron is not a CSI. He's just a citizen hired, even though she ignores his background. Which I've placed his background in my videos for people to see. 40 years of experience, 23,000 bodies, 23,000 scenes, and 4,300 of them with bodies. He teaches CSI, crime scene investigation. Part of crime scene investigation is fingerprinting. She likes to focus in on the fingerprinting aspect of it. That's part of crime scene investigation. It's just a small part of it. Anyone could claim to be an investigator, apparently. But when you claim to be an investigator, you should have the background to prove that. Rich Prater in September 14th of 2019. Does anyone believe that Darren's contacts through his businesses where he had government contracts that were directed to NASA might be an area of concern for possible suspect? Darren did have a couple of contracts with Lockheed that I know of. I don't know anything. I don't know that he had anything to do directly with NASA. Even though I can remember as a kid when we lived in Houston, and I believe it was Challenger. The one that wasn't Challenger, the one before that was set on top of the 747, the space shuttle. I remember we were just a bike ride away from being able to go see that. Our dad took us on, we all rode on bikes over there to see that. That's a cool memory to have. But this is about investigators and people who pose as investigators. Because Rich says on his channel, word for word, or close to it, I've worked with some of the world's best investigators. I've worked on a lot of different crimes. In one video, he claims to have taken part in having a fingerprint on a box in the 6th floor museum, John F. Kennedy assassination. He said he took part in having that identified. It's right on his channel. I've copied it. I like to call people out when they say things as if there's something special to Darlie's case, like when Sully said, it's in Rich's chat, that she was an expert witness in a criminal case that involved murder. And she will not answer that. She said, well, I don't want to answer that because I'll get doxxed. Well, she's been doxxed. Everybody knows who she is and where she's at. Still won't talk about it. Then she changed it to, there's a gag order. Well, if there was a gag order on it, then you can't be telling people that you were an expert on a case, blah, blah, blah. Now, Rich really has, he feels like this is something. He doesn't say too much bad about Darren. I think deep down in his heart, he feels like Darren had something to do with the crime and probably participated in it somehow. He says that. But when we move down here, This is the fingerprint that was in the Texas School Book Depository on a book, on a box that was designed for carrying books. Rich said that he and his team were able to find 14-point matches on that. That's what he said in his video, one of his first videos. Go take a look before he deletes it. And I've talked to Rich numerous times over 5 years, and I told him I was a JFK buff. I know quite a bit about the JFK case. I got to stand right in the window where Lee Harvey Oswald allegedly took those shots. But this comes back to Malcolm Wallace, one of Lyndon B. Johnson's henchmen. I'd like to know more about that, Rich. That you claim that you and your team were responsible for finding this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard what you said. I've heard you say that you worked some of the world's best investigators as well. First couple of his videos, when he first started doing this, he posed as an investigator. Now, shortly before this, Rich was talking about how well he knew Robert Groden. Robert Groden is a writer and one of the biggest investigators in the JFK assassination. As a matter of fact, those that live in Dallas, or those that have been to Dealey Plaza, know that there's an X on the spot where JFK took his final shot. Robert Groden is responsible for putting that there. For 20 years he did that. It was there when I went there. Now here is Rich talking about we worked. He's talking about a team of people that worked on the assassination of John F. Kennedy. And I'm going to just let it play.
But, we worked on...
We worked.
A fingerprint.
A fingerprint. We worked on a fingerprint.
This is how I got acclimated with fingerprints so well.
Now, Groden had nothing to do with the fingerprints. He had nothing to do with that.
In the Texas School Book Depository, they found a 13, almost 14-point.
He said, we worked, they found. It was a 14-point print in the sniper's nest.
Quick match fingerprint. And that's a slam dunk. You can match it to someone. And we were
let's see.
able to match that to a man by the name of Malcolm Wallace, which was...
So we were able to match that to a man by the name of Malcolm Wallace.
Actually kind of one of Lyndon Johnson's studs, so to speak.
Malcolm Wallace was actually a boyfriend of Lyndon Baines Johnson's sister.
But anyway,
Let's see. That's what he says, so I'm not going to go into what I did on this live, but I'm going to go. A Texas-based assassin research group has identified a man believed to have left a previously unidentified fingerprint on a box making up the alleged sniper's nest on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. from which President Kennedy was allegedly assassinated in 1963. Researcher Walt Brown, speaking on behalf of the Texas group, so that he didn't mention any of these names, said that if at a May 29 press conference in Dallas that the fingerprints belonged to Malcolm E. Mac Wallace, a convicted killer with ties to Lyndon Baines Johnson, showing a 14-point match between Wallace's fingerprint card obtained from the Texas Department of Public Safety. And the previously unidentified print, a copy of which was kept in the National Archives. The match was made by A. Nathan Darby, an expert with certification by the International Association of Identifiers. Here's the print. You can see the match. Okay. According to members of the research group, this new evidence has been in the hands of Dallas Police Department since May the 12th. The DPD passes it on to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The fact of Wallace's fingerprint in the so-called sniper's nest does not, of course, mean he pulled the trigger that day. Brown cited FBI fingerprint experts' testimony to the Warren Commission. Okay, so it was brought up to the Warren Commission too. But Rich said we matched it, in which Latona stated that fingerprints can only be taken from the surface like cardboard within 24 hours of its origin. Furthermore, Wallace's print at the crime scene is hard evidence that collaborates with the circumstantial evidence of eyewitness account of Wallace's presence, said Texas researcher Richard Bartholomew. Lloyd Factor has claimed that he, Wallace, Lee, Oswald, and a woman identified as Ruth Ann were present on the TSB 6th floor as a part of the assassination team. According to Bartholomew, the same question was raised by the Dallas police on May 12th. The FBI's own textbook fingerprint on science teaches that the basic concept of fingerprint as evidence is used in criminal investigation. He said, those who have an innocent reason to have handled the objects in the question are eliminated from suspicion. Did Wallace have a reason? No. Okay, so let's take a look at, let's find out who this guy is. Let's find it out. Darby. A little bit more about Walt Brown and that fingerprint back on November 2004.
So that print was found by A. Nathan Darby. He was the one who found the 14 points. Rich Prater didn't say his name. He said we were able to. Anybody can be an investigator.
Inspector